Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skynyrd and leaving you with a song.
The Stone Roadie Show, podcast 327. And roll 'em if you got 'em. Alrighty then, fellow Stone Roadie Dimension. Hey, looky here.
Did you say Stone Roadie Dementia or Dimension?
Dimension, been dementia.
I'm in the fifth dementia. The fifth dementia.
Hey, it's Monday, September the 15th. And, this is another Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz. And my name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie. And with me, as always, my co-host, co-pilot, and the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And we got a very special guest today. This is our most famous guest we've ever had on the Stone Roadie Show on podcast 327. We finally got somebody famous.
You got the psychedelic gnome.
This is Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters. Peace. And when Ed King couldn't play, he filled in for Ed in 1993 on the tribute tour, and that's when I first met Greg. So
absolutely.
So what?
It's actually 92. It was actually the reason I can remember, Craig. It was around. I met Ed at the Dallas Guitar Show about a month prior to coming down there to hang with you guys. I went to the Dallas Guitar Show and I met Ed. And you know how Ed, he's brutally honest and right to the point always. And he walks up to me and says, "Are you guys a rock band or are you a country band?" And I said, "Well, we play rock, but we're from the country." He said, "I knew it. And he had really the lights had went off." I said, "Well, we grew up playing rock and roll and blues, absolutely, but we're from the country, so the country elements came in." But anyway, that was my first meeting with Ed, And then before I met you, because I think you're the one that picked me up at the airport. I think you always took me and picked me up and took me around, stuff like that. So, I was telling Griff here a while back, it was around April or May. I was out mowing my yard one day and I was in this room right here. It's been my music room for years. And it used to be a fax line and an answer machine, a studio phone. And I had a call from Ed and said, "Hey, this is Ed King. He had a problem. He broke his finger," which, that's another story, which you could tell if you want. And anyway, he said, "We need some help. Would you be interested?"
We have shared that story, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I didn't know it at the time of what happened. But anyway, of course, being young, full of energy, at least I thought I was, I said, "Oh, well, sure, man. The Headhunters are off." Of course, I forgot that I have to really sit down and learn those songs or try. But, I said, "Yeah, I would love to do it," because we had a little window being off. And the reason I remember it was 92 is because when I finished that run with you guys, Doug and Ricky Phelps left the Headhunters. The band imploded. It wasn't because of that. It was just, I don't know why, but it just didn't work out. I guess things work out like they're supposed to. But anyway, I came down initially, the best I remember. I came down flew down to Jacksonville or somewhere. You picked me up. We went out to the little white building out in the middle of nowhere, and it was a rehearsal space. You remember the rehearsal space out in the middle of somewhere?
Yeah, out on A1A. It was that little place, out there right on A1A.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we started, they started breaking me in, but I think Gary and Dale, the sweethearts, they knew I was nervous, and I'd pretty much gotten myself into something. I thought, wow. I mean, what I'm saying is I really respect Lynyrd Skynyrd as a band and their music. And I thought, I felt like I said, I don't know if I'm the right guy for this, but here I am, you know.
Was my blue 32 coupe in the garage at the same time
I
that
think so.
I
I think so.
rebuilt out there? Yeah, I got Alan's hot rod and I rebuilt it in that building, and that's just about the time I was doing that. Yeah.
Oh, have mercy. Have mercy.
Greg, how much time did you have to learn those songs?
Seemed like there was about a week, and after I talked to Ed
A
initially,
week?
yeah, about a week. I mean, there again, all of us kids, well, not kids, we're just a little bit younger than Gary and the guys, and we all attempted to play three steps, and I never played Freebird in my life until I got with those guys, and then but we all tried to play Sweet Home Alabama. And the funny thing is, if you played Sweet Home Alabama in front of Ed King, he'd go, wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He'd say, this is the right way you do it. And he was totally right about it. I didn't, I never, I mean, my intention was to honor the music the best I could, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to really do it. So
I'd say a week. A week isn't,
about a week.
That's
After
terrible.
I told Ed I would do it, I think I got a call from Gary, and they sent me a box set, the green box set, which I've got here. I've got CDs all over this room. You can see a few of them right there, but I've still got some things signed by the guys, and I think they sent me a couple other CDs, and so I kind of buckled down and tried to learn what I could, and it was fun, and it was a little nerve-wracking, but I mean, I would not take nothing for that experience at all.
But you said, though, that you didn't know how well you did, but then you said that later on Gary called you and said, hey man, we really need a permanent player, and you were back with the Headhunters and you couldn't do it, and that's when Mike Estes took over.
Yes.
So they must have liked you.
Well, I guess he saw there was potential there that I could be trained.
Well, they only gave you a week, I mean,
right. And there again, they were kind enough. Also, I'm not a Stratocaster player like Ed King was, and they were kind enough. I don't know if Craig will remember this. They were kind enough to even bring a Marshall out of storage that belonged to one of the. Maybe Allen's. Somebody said it may have been one of Allen's or Gary's old Marshalls, and they let me play a Les Paul. When the role distinctly required someone to play Strat, but
right.
they were not judgmental, or they weren't like bad tasks. They were great to me. I can't say anything
but
bad.
Didn't you say that Ed still could play a slide part?
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
So you didn't have to play the slide parts then. You just, but which I mean, still that's pretty difficult with a week to practice and then have to go out on stage.
It was fast, man, because we were off. That's the reason I even said yes. We had some time off.
Well, whenever you got with the band, and then you guys were like, you had to practice first, right?
Oh yeah, well, I did.
How long did you have to practice with them before?
It was about 2 or 3 days.
And were they going, oh, okay, that's good. Were they all right with it and everything?
They seemed okay with it. They seemed fine with it. I think I was harder on myself than maybe they were harder on me, but they knew that it was going to be, there was what had happened. There was a group of dates that came in supposedly like a little run, about 11 dates. And I don't know if Craig will remember this. I think one of the dates we did was Memphis in May. It was in May. I remember that. I know I can think of a few things that happened that we could talk about.
Yeah.
But I remember the bus broke down out of Atlanta one night. I don't know if Craig will remember this. And we flew from somewhere outside of Atlanta into somewhere. And one of the funniest things I'll never forget is Leon sitting in the middle of two elderly ladies. They're probably my age now. I'm, you know, but then I was in my 30s, and he was explaining bass guitar to them, and just as nice. I mean, what a sweetheart he was, man. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
did they understand?
I
Were
don't
they
know, man.
getting?
I don't know. And there was some crazy things happen. And I was telling you this, Griff. Craig, I missed. I was out with Gary one evening, and I ended up missing one flight because me and Gary had a little fun, running around, listening to Paul Kossoff and Stevie Ray, and there could have been a couple of beverages involved, but uh, I missed one flight, and it was crazy. So I guess I flew out of Jacksonville. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I flew from Jacksonville into Atlanta. This is after the rehearsal. So I get off. I go to the Nashville terminal for the next flight. And who's sitting there? There's Lily Tomlin from 9 to 5, the movie actress. She's sitting there with some ladies, and they're talking about domestic stuff. And here I am, my hair all, of course, I had long hair back then, and it was all over the place, and a long coat. And they looked over at me one time, probably never thought nothing about it. And so we all got on the plane, flew to Nashville, and I got off. I went home. Then the next week, I had to fly back out to L.A. to meet the guys. I had to fly out of Nashville to meet the guys because we were on some kind of award show. So I was going to go out to the award show and then meet you guys back in Louisiana for the first show. So when I get on the plane, I'm walking down the aisle in first class, and Lily Tomlin sitting in first class because she must have been spending some time in Nashville. And she looks up at me like, "Oh my God, who are you?"
Thought you were following her around.
Yeah. So when I walked off, she just looked up again. She never could figure out who I was, but she thought, "Who is this guy? Who is this clown?"
How many gigs did you play with Skynyrd? How many venues did you play with
I think
Skynyrd?
about 11 shows.
Yeah, and then Ed's finger got better.
I did the 11 shows, and I think the last show I played with the guys was in Nashville, so that would have been like early June of '92. And I didn't see the guys. Well, it seemed like we got together one other time. They were in the studio or doing something, and there was a dinner somewhere. And I remember going out because the Headhunters were down there doing something, and I went out and joined the guys. But then the next time I remember seeing the boys really on stage, they were playing Louisville with Bad Company in '93, and me and my wife went up, and I ended up jamming with them on Call Me the Breeze because Gary come over and bit me on the shoulder during the solo.
Well,
that, right?
How was it that you met Ed King?
What about Ed?
How did you meet Ed King?
Oh, well, here how I met Ed King was I used to go to the Dallas Guitar Show every spring. Jimmy Wallace would bring me to Dallas to play the guitar show. And so in '92, I'm at the guitar show, and a friend of mine had brought my 58 Les Paul down, which
Yeah, you're a Les Paul guy. That's about all you play, right?
This belonged to Ed at one time.
Oh, okay. Is that
This
one
is
you said that you asked Sharon permission to sell, and you hadn't sold it yet?
No, that was a '64.
Is that the one that he thought was Red Eye?
Yes, he thought this was Red. A friend of mine brought this down to the guitar show, and he had it at his booth. And Ed heard that there was a guitar that belonged to him at the booth, and he thought it was Red Eye.
Yeah, because he was looking for Red Eye.
He was looking for Red Eye. And so he went over, and when he found out it wasn't Red Eye, he found out who I was. And that's when he walked up to me and said, "All right, I want to know the truth. Are you guys a rock band or are you guys a country band?" And that's when I said, "Well, we play rock, but we're from the country." And somehow he liked that answer, and he said, I knew it. He told me that he was in the bathroom taking a shower, and he heard us play on Farm Aid back in 91. He said he about broke. He heard us play "Wishing Well," and he said he about broke his neck trying to get out of the shower to see who was playing. He just liked our band, you know.
Well, yeah,
For some
you know.
reason, he wanted me to fill in for him, you know.
Well, you guys have that southern picking thing that Skinner likes, you know, and I
Yeah.
think
Oh yeah.
Ed even complimented that a lot with his scratchy playing, you know, and
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, which is pretty much the gateway to the South. But I've spent most of my life here in South Central Kentucky, so I'm a Southern boy. I'm just a hick, you know. Come on, you know.
well, I remember, you know, listening to you guys and back in the day, you know, I mean, it's not like I kept total track of it, but I'd always thought, you know, like maybe the Spin Doctors, you know, or the Georgia Satellites kind of watched you guys, you know. It's that kind of a music, you know. It's like if anybody ever grabbed anything, you know, those guys grabbed anything, I had to get them from you because,
Well,
yeah, that music, you know, didn't just come out. You guys were playing that stuff way back, you
I
know.
don't know as much about the Spin Doctors, but I know that the satellites, Dan Baird and the boys, were actually happening about the time we were putting our band together. And I think that it was just a culmination of us listening to the same stuff that they listened to. Because I've got to know Dan uh, over the years, and we've talked about this. You know, we're like NRBQ fans. You know, we like a lot of the same stuff. I think I have to say that the satellites were one of the reasons we thought we had a shot. When keep your hands to yourself hit it on MTV, we're going, well, it looked like Southern music is making a comeback. You know, you remember they hit it before we did. Now
Yeah,
this is
but you were around before them, though,
we
right? I
were
mean,
around. We were around. This is the crazy thing, Griff. We were called the Headhunters from 1980. Me and Richard and Fred started playing together in 1968. We had a band called Itchy Brother, and we were a rock band. We were like hard rock blues. But in '86, we put a band together with Doug Phelps on vocals, and we initially called ourselves the Headhunters. And then we added Doug's brother about 3 or 4 months later. And when he came in and started singing with Doug, we all thought, there's something special here, you know. And
he's a great singer.
oh, well,
Doug,
yeah,
yeah.
both the Phelps boys are both
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, they're great singers. And so we didn't, you know, when we put that little band together, we weren't really thinking we were going to get a record deal. We had no clue. The funny thing is, we thought, well, man, we're going to be an alternative band. We're going to go down to Athens, Georgia, and hang out with the REM. We were nothing like that. You know, we were so wrong about that. But we did a showcase around 88. I think it was the fall of 88 at Douglas Corner. There was a label, CBS Records, a fellow by the name of Larry Hamby. He was the head of CBS Nashville. He heard our little pick. We would have to go back and I'd have to explain to you about our whole tape and everything, but he'd heard our original demo of Picking on Nashville, and he was really into the band. So we played a showcase at Douglas Corner, and Leroy Parnell was on the show that night as well. He was doing a showcase. And actually, when Larry Hamby heard our band live, he said, well, you guys aren't country. You're really more rock. I don't really know quite what to do with you. But
Yeah.
Harold Shedd from Mercury Records was there. And he said he saw us setting our equipment on stage. He said, God, that's the ugliest bunch of guys I've ever seen in my life. And he said, 2 songs into our set, he told his friend, I'm going to sign that band. And my Lord, if he didn't sign us, he signed us by next June. We had our record deal signed, and then the record came out in October of '89. So
Well,
it was crazy, man.
when you do something like Blue Moon of Kentucky, how do you get permission for something like that? I always kind of wondered how, you know, you get.
Well, well, you have to make a deal. Obviously, you have to get clearance through the publisher. But you know, when the Headhunters, because we did Blue Moon of Kentucky on Rave On, which was '92. By then, we were making we were selling a lot of records at that point. Everybody was selling records back then, and So I'm sure the publishing company thought, yeah, you guys want to do Blue Moon of Kentucky? Bill Monroe, he loved anytime we did one of his songs because he made royalty money.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, you guys did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Walk
And
Softly kind of started the ball rolling on that. And then we did Body and Soul with Body and Soul on the next album. Then we did Blue Moon of Kentucky. Now, this coming Tuesday, here's, of course, I'm not sure on the dates here when this is going to be running. So I may have messed something up, but we're doing a tribute to Bill Monroe at the Grand Ole Opry, so which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
awesome.
I found out early, I found out through Gary. Gary told me him and Dale were fans when the first album came out. They had a place out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, I think.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They said they used to listen to our album out there all the time. And man, I can't say nothing but great things about every one of those guys. They were just so nice to me.
Yeah. When did you find out about Gary? Did you know he was having problems at all? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
I knew he was sick, and I'm not sure who told me. It could have been my buddy Chris. Chris.
Your playing definitely compliments Skynyrd, man, because, I mean, shoot. Yeah, and the way you play slide, your slide and and all that.
Thing is, I don't play enough slide. That's really, and I'm not bragging on myself at all, but I don't think I'm anything spectacular.
Well, that Dry Land Fish song. What
Yeah.
I got to ask you about that. For people that don't know Kentucky Headhunters, that's one of their songs. And what the heck is a dry land fish? I was listening to that song trying to figure out what that meaning of that is.
That's just a mushroom. That's a morel.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's not one of the psychedelic brands. It's one you could actually eat.
Oh, so that's what you call it, a dry land fish?
Dry land fish. You cook them up. Yeah.
Oh, dude, morels are delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're expensive, man.
They're
pounded morels are expensive.
Yep. That's what that's about. That's what that song.
That honky tonk walking. Who's that girl dancing in that song? That video. That's a great video.
Seen her since that night or that day. When
really?
Video. No, I have no idea who she was. John Lloyd Miller, I think, is the one that he did the video. They put that video shoot together outside of Nashville. I don't know. I can't tell you any of those people except for us in the video, really.
And was you part of the writing as far as like lyrics and stuff on that?
Well, I wrote, on that, I wrote the intro, the little da 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 da. I wish I was plugged up. I could play it for you, but I'm not plugged up now. But yeah, the music, I was more involved with the music. I think Richard, and because remember, Doug was gone at this time, so I'm thinking Mark Orr, Anthony Kinney, and Richard were really instrumental in the lyrical content of that song. I'm pretty sure. Fred too, but Fred come up with a great drum part on that, and he's an
awesome drummer. What a unique guy he is.
Well, he's very, very unique. He's a great drummer. He's a great human being. Every one of the guys are special. I mean, I've known Richard and Fred since 1968. That's how long we go back. And I've known Doug since 1986. So.
But the comment that you guys were a bunch of ugly guys, I think you guys all have a great look for a band. It's almost
it was a special look together. That original and the new the Headhunters now. I mean, it's basically the same band without Ricky, but that original band with Ricky was pretty ferocious, man. I mean, it had a look. We were younger. We had lots of energy, It
was kind of like controversial country.
Back then it was. When that first album came out, people thought, "Oh my God!" But now when you listen to it, it sounds pretty.
It's not controversial. It's tame, really tame.
It's very
because when you got songs like "My Daddy Was a Milkman," I mean, that's people are like, "What the heck?" But it's really great. I mean,
that was. I think Doug wrote that. I can't remember how that came about, but it was a jam.
That's funny.
We've got rehearsal tapes of us rehearsing on that, where Doug and Ricky actually get into an argument over the timing, the two brothers, you know. But I remember in '93 when I went up to see Lynyrd Skynyrd in Louisville. Was it at Freedom Hall or Louisville Gardens? Is one of the places. I was talking to, and maybe Craig remembers some of that tour with Bad Company. There was a guitar player in the band named Bucket, and he
Oh
said,
yeah, I remember Bucket. Yeah,
"Remember
sure
Bucket?
did.
Yeah."
Oh yeah,
And
sure
Bucket told
did.
me backstage that night. He said, "Man, I love my daddy was a milkman. We hear that on
I
Atlanta."
think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, we had that our version of Spirit in the Sky, and my daddy was a milkman had great potential to cross over into the rock market, but back then, Nashville Polygram and New York Polygram did not yeehaw as well, you know, and just didn't happen. Just didn't
Like
happen.
what's one of the like? I'm sure there's several, but what's the big like the free bird of the Kentucky headhunters? You know
Right.
what?
That'd be Dumas Walker.
Dumas, yeah.
Yeah, Dumas Walker. Then I would say Walk Softly, uh, Spirit in the
I
Sky.
like the Chitlin time.
Yeah.
That's you guys got some. It's like stories in your lyrics. It's kind of
Well,
like Skinner. That's why I say it's
well,
related.
well. That's the thing, man. We grew up listening to Skinner, Allman Brothers. You know, we were listening to Free, Cream,
Because
Hendrix.
the Louisiana Coco's got that Skinnerd sound to
Yep,
it.
yep. Richard wrote that.
Don't you think it's got that Skinnerd's? It's probably why Ed King, he's probably this is the kind of
Well,
guy that I need to replace me.
we were kindred spirits. I mean, you know, that's for sure. We were kindred spirits from day one, and you know, I mean, to to say that we were not influenced by Skinner, I mean, God, that'd be sacrilegious, man. Who was not influenced by Skinner
Yeah.
from '73 onward, man? Come on, I mean, Craig knows. I mean, my gosh, by the time they got not taking away anything from Ed, and Ed loved Stevie Gaines. Am I correct about that, Craig?
Yeah, as far as I've heard, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard
He loved his.
interviews where he said they couldn't have picked a better guy, not to mention they both share the same exact year and birthday.
My God, what a player!
Isn't
Craig,
that
you were there.
crazy?
You were there when that all went down, right? When Steve jammed with him and all that
Yeah,
for
oh
the
yeah,
first time.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
I think he scared them to death, didn't he? Kind of.
oh yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he went out there and Ronnie said, "Okay, okay." Oh, Ronnie told Kevin, he goes, "Man, if he sucks, just turn him off in the
That's
PA."
what I heard. That's what I
Yeah,
heard.
and so he did the first run, and Ronnie just like, and then when he threw it that slide down and just took off, Alan looked back at me over his amp. He goes, "That's him. That's the one right there."
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they were looking.
seriously, yeah,
God bless,
it was,
man.
yeah, they were very apprehensive about, man, it's Cassie's brother, he's a bar
Right.
band, oh yeah, yeah, he knocked everybody's socks off, man. He was not intimidated in any way, shape, or form to get up there.
Oh my Lord. I mean, yeah, the guy, he had so many styles, but they were his styles, you know, but he could chicken pick with the best of them. He could play the country thing or he could rock out. He just had it all. Of course, he had quite a training, man. He played with I think he played with Rusty Day of Cactus and different people, you know, before
Yeah,
Skip,
yeah.
you know. But man, yeah, what I was saying is, you know, I remember I was working in a factory in '73, not something I really wanted to do, but I remember when that first Skinner album came out, that you know, I buddied up with another guy at the factory, had long hair, and he said, "Hey man, have you heard the new Lynyrd Skynyrd album?" I said, "No, who are they?" You know, and then how could you not be influenced by Lynyrd Skynyrd? You know,
Yeah, and Greg, do you remember? Because for me, I remember, I loved Leonard Skinner, but then when they brought Billy Powell in and
oh
those keyboards came in, and we were
yeah,
like, dude, man, you got to hear this guy, and it was progressive in the band because, I mean, they brought Billy Powell in, the next thing, Steve Gaines. They just kept getting better.
oh that last album that they did together, the original group was just so special. And I remember, this is crazy, guys. Even though Richard and Fred and I played together from high school, there was a brief period I moved to Louisville after high school. And I remember when I rejoined the guys, and I rejoined the band when was the crash? October?
Yeah, it's
October 20th, 77.
77.
That's when I rejoined Richard and Fred. That was that very week I rejoined them because me and Fred went to Louisville to get my stuff so I could move back down to play with Itchy Brother. And we were, they had a deal working out of Atlanta at the time that never really quite materialized, but it almost did. But I remember me and Fred being in Louisville and that plane crash had just happened, and I remember it just happened right before that because Richard and Fred had been in Atlanta that week before it happened. They remember. How could you not remember that? It's just sad.
Yeah, it's like
Craig,
you
brother,
knew where you were, when
Craig knows. Craig was there. I mean, God, Craig knows. My heart goes out to all you guys, man. It kind of hurts my heart, really.
So who are some of the people like you played with on that people would recognize? Chris told me that you were good buddies with Billy Gibbons.
I know Gibbons, and I'm
Yeah.
sure Craig does too.
Yeah, and of course, like I was telling you, I didn't realize a buddy of mine pointed it out. Greg Martin, man, he was playing with Joe Bonamassa. And that's like one of his favorite guys. And I looked it up, and there you were playing Crossroads with Bonamassa.
I've played with Joe about 4 or 5 times. Jammed with Joe on stage. I've jammed with. Now I've never played with ZZ Top. Obviously.
How did you run into him, Billy Gibbons?
It's weird. We started hearing rumors around when the first album came out that Billy Gibbons was giving people Picking on Nashville. He had bought a bunch of copies, was giving them away. And so I wrote him a little letter. I think I sent him a T-shirt and a cap and wrote him a little letter. And he called me one day back in 91. And we just hit it off. We've hit it off. And, we went to a show, I think sometime right after the first phone call. Then we would show up at shows. And me and Billy, we've spent many hours on the phone talking. We're both really strong blues lovers. We love the original blues, everything from Guitar Slim to Freddie King to Lightning Hopkins, and all the gut bucket blues is what we love. And of course Peter Green and all that stuff. But I got to be real good friends with him. And last time I saw Billy, he was here in Glasgow back in the spring. He was playing in Bowling Green. He had a day off and he shot up. I was in the studio working on a little project, and he kind of surprised me in the studio one day. He showed up. I didn't think he would make it because a lot of times they say, "Oh yeah, man, we'll get together," but then and when that morning when I said, "Hey, I'm in the studio. If you're not doing anything, come on up and hang out," he said, "Well, I had a bunch of things hit me. I can't really make it today." And I said, "Well, it's okay. I didn't really expect that to happen. I knew he's a busy guy." But about 15 minutes later, he said, "Man, we're rolling your way." He showed up and hung out with us a couple of hours in the studio.
Cool.
So he's been good friends, been a great inspiration. Man, I've jammed with all kind of different people, man.
Well, with your style, you're versatile. You could play with rock, blues, country. So, I'm sure you've had gigs with all those different venues, right?
There was about a period from 72 to 77 that I just kind of played music in Louisville. I would take gigs, just whatever came along, whether it be country or rock or whatever. So when you're in that position, man, you have to learn to play every style you can. And in Louisville, country was big. So somebody say, "Hey, you want to play a country gig for $50?" Sure. 1973, that was good money.
Well, take us back to like when you first picked up a guitar. That's what's interesting to me. Like, how did you even get started? And were your parents musical, or you just?
There was a lot of music on both sides of my family. The Dow side, my mother's side, there were a lot of old timey music, banjos, acoustic guitars, fiddles, because I got pictures of them playing, acoustic instruments. And then in my uncle Carl, he played on the radio gospel.
So what age are we talking about that you grabbed that you held the guitar and said, "This is it"?
Probably about the time I saw the Beatles in '64. That made a big impact. But what really hit me, there's two different things. In '66, my cousin and my brother took me to see the Lovin' Spoonful, November of 1966 at Memorial Auditorium in Louisville. And when I saw those four guys, it really planted a deep seed for me to do that. And it's the first time I'd ever seen a Sunburst Les Paul. John Sebastian had a 59, and I had never seen a Les Paul. And I thought, I want one of those. And then, I'd already started tinkering around on guitar because my brothers, they had some nice guitars, and I'd sneak up there when they were at work and play and learn things. And then in '68, my cousin took me to see a group out of Louisville called Elysian Field, who had a record deal on Imperial Records out of Los Angeles. And that night was just something very spiritual happened. I can't even explain it to this day. But about 2 weeks later, I met Richard and Fred. So, Griff, I just think it was my calling in life.
Did you ever take any lessons, or did you just learn from guys that you'd been around and stuff?
I would watch anybody that I could, anybody I thought that they could show you something. But there's a lot of fellas, like a fella in Edmonton when I was growing up named Wayne Sexton. He would show me anything, and he was kind to me. He saw some talent in me, and somehow he put a bass guitar even in my hand. I was playing bass guitar on a gospel show when I was about 15 years old, and I didn't know I could play bass guitar, but I can, And so yeah, I just learned by watching and listening to records, listening to radio, watching TV. I think I did take a few guitar lessons from a guy on classical for like 1980. And that's where I learned how to kind of finger pick, But most of it was just God given, I must say, pretty much.
Yeah, well, you got it definitely natural. You must, have a natural talent for it because it just flows so easy for you,
Yeah, the Martin side had the hillbilly country thing going on, and then my mother's side had the hillbilly gospel bluegrass thing happening. So it all collided in the middle, and then I got into rock and roll. So, rock and roll and blues, but there was a lot of country mixed in as well.
How many bands would you say you played with before you met the Headhunters? Was it?
No, be honest with you,
they're right off, wasn't it?
The first real band I ever played with was Richard and Fred and their cousin Anthony. We had a band called Aftermath. That was the first band. I played around in Louisville with friends, but nothing as a band. No, the band I play with today, except for Doug, that's the band I started with in 1968.
You guys are tight. You can tell when you go out on stage, it's like, okay, you're ready. Here we go. And
it's a spiritual thing, man. It's let
me ask you about that Les Paul. Randall Hall and even Estes both are having like neck and shoulder trouble, and you find that the weight of that is bothering you any, or your ergonomics, or how's it going? You're still holding it all right and everything?
The hands are okay. The only problem I'm having, besides being an old fart, is rotator cuffs a little bit. I'm having some rotator cuff, problems a little bit. But I get a shot every 3 months. It seems like right now they're doing better. But my hands are still pretty good. I have had some problems over the years because of the pinched nerves and things like that.
Yeah.
There was a 5-week period back in 2015 where I woke up one morning, didn't have any, my hands worked, but I didn't have any, I couldn't bend strings, I couldn't shake the strings, and, and I had to play slide for like 5 weeks,
let it heal up.
Yeah.
Billy, he plays a SG, right? Billy Gibbons, isn't that what he
Billy
plays?
Gibbons plays everything. Billy Gibbons is famous for Pearly Gates' 59 Les Paul. That is
Oh,
his number one love.
doesn't he sling it over one shoulder? Just he don't throw it over his neck. He just puts it over.
He does that Freddie King thing sometimes where he throws it over this shoulder.
Yeah.
And he uses really light guitars. He does have an SG, but he has some hollowed out Les Pauls. He's got some special guitars that aren't that heavy. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people right now, and they're going, Griff, we see those guitars in the back. When you going to ask Greg to show us some of them?
Okay. Well, this is a 58 Les Paul. This is belonged to
Which the one that Ed thought was Ed's a 58? The red eye, was that a
59?
59? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the year I was born. So yeah,
This belonged to Ed King. Ed got it from a gospel group or somebody traded him out of it. Ed didn't. Once he got red eye, he didn't want this, so he sold it through Gruen's. Hank Williams Jr. got it. And
really,
yeah, it belonged to Hank. Hank gave it to me pretty much. That's how I got it.
So Hank pretty much gave it to you, huh?
Yep, pretty much.
That looks like an Ed King Strat right there.
Strat, 57. That's an original 57 Strat. I've had this since 1992, and it's got that classic Strat sound. I mean, everything original on it. Somebody did steal it out of the van one time and threw it over a bridge, and then went into a sand barge. And
really?
Yeah, I got it back. Thank God.
There's always a story about somebody stealing the guy's guitar.
This has got crazy. A story, man. Yeah, this one.
Just like Red Eye got stolen too, right?
Yes.
I mean,
well, the funny thing is, I had played a session. I was doing an album called The Mighty Jeremiahs, which was a gospel album with Jimmy Hall. And I was doing overdubs one Sunday afternoon. And I came home and I had taken this guitar and a 50s Les Paul Jr. to the studio. When I came home, instead of bringing the guitar in the house, I said, I'm going to sit here and watch Nick at Night for a little bit. You know, Mary Tyler Moore or whatever I used to watch back then. And I fell asleep on the couch. When I woke up the next morning, I said, oh, God, I forgot my guitars. When I went out there, this guitar was gone, but my Les Paul Jr. was still there in the little alligator case. And I think that this guitar was in a tweed case that looked like it was a gun case or a golf club case. And I think when they figured out it was an old beat up guitar, they said, we don't want this. And they flung it over a bridge.
Wow. How did you find it though? I mean, that's
stuck notices up all over Glasgow area, South Central Kentucky. I called every dealer that I knew through the Vintage Network. This old gentleman over on Happy Valley Road here in Glasgow saw a poster I'd put up about my guitar being gone. And he called me in this room one day on the studio phone and left a message, said, Greg, this is so-and-so. I think I know where your guitar is. And he left a number, and I kept calling the number. No one had ever answered. And I finally thought, man, that's just a joke. Somebody played a joke on me. Well, then one day I called, he answered. He said, no, man, this number is a payphone. I live in a motel. And it's right outside my room. I just didn't hear your calls. And he said, yeah, a family found your guitar in a sand barge over a bridge. It was about 2 miles from this house right here. So we went and picked up this guy one day, me and Anthony Kenny, and we were scared. We thought it might have been a setup, so Andy put a gun under his seat. And we drove out there to this old house. The guitar is worth more than the house. And they said, yeah, we found this on the sand barge. It was a little damp. And I believed him. I gave him a little money for finding it, and that was it.
Do you think it got rained on?
I think the headstock went down into a little water, but it didn't hurt anything. It got baptized.
That's like that Peter Frampton guitar, that one that you know the story about that. It went through the plane crash on a Convair like the plane Craig was on.
Yeah.
That was their rig plane, and it got burned, and then he found it. Somebody was playing it somewhere, and somebody spotted it and sent Frampton the message. You ever meet Frampton?
Yeah.
Did he tell you about that story?
He did. I've interviewed him. I do a radio show. I've been doing it almost 26 years now. And hey, he was one of my guests, and we talked on the phone for an hour and a half. He was great. And I finally met him in person at the Warren Haynes Jam. I don't know what year it was, 2009 or something like that. Nice guy, very nice. Yeah. Haven't talked to him in years though.
What else you got back there, Greg?
Well, let's see here.
Do you do anything like Craig used to do? Take the necks off of the guitars and swap them around like Ed and Craig used to do?
Stratocaster to a Telecaster or vice versa.
I've done that. I have done that. I don't play Fenders as much, so you can't really do it with a Gibson, because they're they're glued
on neck.
Yeah. This is a 60. This is a early 65 335.
And that what Nugent plays?
He played a Birdland.
He plays a Birdland, yeah.
Yeah, he played Birdland. Let's see, what else we got? Maybe, let me see if I can just move the phone around. Maybe it'd be the easiest way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If I didn't mention it to you, there'd be a bunch of comments. How come you didn't have him show his guitars?
Let me see if I can show you guys. Maybe, hopefully this shows.
This is awesome.
My hand on this one right here. Can you see this one?
No, not quite. A little more to. There you go.
This right here.
More toward the guitars.
Yeah.
More toward the guitars.
What's that, Craig? This right here, but this is a 64 335.
Yeah, a little turn it a little towards the guitar some more, Greg.
Like that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's a 64. That belonged to Travis Womack. That guitar's been on a lot of hit records like Mac Davis, Osmond Brothers, Wilson Pickett, a lot of hit records. Excuse me, guys. I've got a 62 335 out in the garage. It's not just sitting in the garage, but it's going on the road with me. So that boat pedal looking guitar back there, can you see it?
Uh-huh.
That's a 66 12-string Fender. Then there's a National Howlin' Wolf. That's what they call a Cosmopolitan, that little bitty guitar. That's what Howlin' Wolf's guitar player played, Willie Johnson. He played one of those. And you can see, I mean, I'm a music collector. You see what I've got around here,
Oh my God. Wow.
Holy.
And behind the curtain, this is kind of, I mean, there's a bunch of amps too. Can you see the amps and things?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff down here. I hate to, I could show you more if I could.
Did you get to? Well, that's right. We talked about
what would happen if you turn your camera phone sideways instead of
help.
Will it flip? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
See,
a little bit wider. Yeah.
See homemade biscuits, and you can see where we were on the Grand Ole Opry. I think you can see our little.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, that's way better.
Oh, yeah, a lot better.
I'm ignorant. And you can see a few Marshalls and Germino amps back there, and there's more CDs and stuff. So
we were talking about Bonamassa collection. You hadn't seen him in a while, but
I haven't seen him. Listen, man, mine is nothing. I'm 72 years old. I had a few years ago. I had a lot of guitars, not like Joe, but I decided 10 years ago to say, well, if I'm not playing something, it's time to start downsizing a little bit, So I'm an old fart now.
And Craig said that, Gary's collection, probably since you've seen Gary, has grown quite a bit. Because Craig said, I didn't realize Gary had that many guitars.
When he left Jacksonville, he had maybe 10, and now he's got like 75 or something.
Gary he had 75 guitars.
That's what I am. From what I understand, the guy's got him out in Chicago, and he's got like 75 guitars. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was
Dale's
trying to get him. And
then he's got all the Tweed, the PV Tweed stuff, all the old amp.
Now is the not Sharon. Sorry about this.
Dale. Yeah.
Dale. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah. Dale still has Bernice, right?
It's in the Rock and Roll
Bernice is at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I go up there quite frequently to the Rock Hall of Fame because I'm so close to it. Yeah, Bernice is still up there, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's the only thing of Lynyrd Skynyrd that's up there is Bernice. That's it.
Did he have Bernice when you played with him? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you get to play it?
Yeah, I got to touch it. I took Hank. I named this one Hank. Hank, I was actually had this guitar out there on the road.
Well, then that's Bernice there that he's playing on my
Yep.
screen. Then, yeah,
There he is. There he is. There's the man himself right there. You know,
Yeah.
I really love playing with Gary. I remember one of the first times we got together in that little practice space, he and I were just jamming together, and it was just so natural playing with him. And we could have wrote some good songs together actually if we'd really worked at it. You know, I don't know why we didn't do it, but God only knows. But
Well, you guys are very
there's
busy.
still a lot of color in Gary's guitar in this video, because now it look up in the Rock Hall of Fame. It looks like a gold top almost.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, that's the way mine looks. Yeah, it's turned
Yeah.
into.
Did you see the repair from when Craig left the plug in it on the stand and somebody kicked it
Oh.
over?
Oh no!
Yeah,
no.
I think it was some carpenter or something fixed it.
Yeah, that was when I became a guitar roadie back in 76, 75, 76, and we were down in Miami, and I just stupid just left the guitar plugged in the studio. I said, "Oh, nobody will be in there." Somebody went in there and caught their foot in the cord and dumped it over. And Gary went in there and found the head broke off of it. Oh, he was just beside himself. And some guy was at Criteria and said, "I can fix that." And Gary said, "Take it." And the guy glued it together and brought it back in. Yeah.
Yeah, last time Craig was there at the Rock Roll Hall of Fame, I said, "Man, look at it real close and see if you can still see that repair."
I
'Cause
could
was
see it.
wondering-
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, he never had it professionally fixed. He left it. Yeah.
Griff, you got a blackface Princeton reverb sitting over there, don't you?
Yeah, a lot. Estes trying to talk me out of that
I
thing.
figured that.
Yeah, that thing's been and some people have used that for some recordings. I don't know who, but the guy that sold it to me. But yeah, that's a sought after amp right there, huh?
Yeah, those are great amps. Yeah, it's
And
so
it works great. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, back in the 70s, we wanted the bigger the amp, the better. Now, of course, if we gotten older, we're happy to take a champ amp if we can. So, Craig, what year did you start with Skinner? What year did you start?
I met Skinner December 7th, 1973, and I actually went down to Atlanta and met up with him again for the New Year's Eve show, December the 31st. Yeah, so
Wow.
that since December to January 1st, 1974. That's when I started.
Buddy, you worked your butt off. Y'all were out there. Y'all were out crazy.
Oh
How many
yeah,
days-
that was that was just they were just starting. We
74. You were out there.
they just started making. All they made was per diem. When I started, we made $5 a day per diem, and that was the band, the crew, and everybody. And they had just gotten a raise from $3 a day per diem. Yeah, we got $5 a day per diem. When we flew out to do second helping, in L.A. at the record plant, well, we got $5 a day per diem.
And they used Craig's. He was the only one that had a credit card.
Oh yeah, but there was times they had to use my credit card to put fuel in the vehicles to get them to gig to gig. I'm the only one that had a credit card, and then they would get paid at the next gig and pay me back.
Did you guys Winnebago for a little bit?
We had a Winnebago, yeah.
Because somebody said you guys came through Elizabethtown one time. Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I guess y'all were playing nearby, and you stopped at somebody's house that y'all knew up there, and y'all were running in a Winnebago. Lord,
Oh
look
yeah.
Look at me. I got my Baptist minister coat on there. What the Lord was thinking, man?
Yeah, that's a clean shaven Greg Martin there.
God bless, man. Oh, Lord have mercy.
There's Leon. Yeah, we're gonna play these videos for everybody that's watching the podcast here. I've got the videos down. We're gonna put them at the end of this podcast for everybody to watch. So
I'm glad that Craig had those. I had a friend. I gave Craig and sent me the. I can't remember, Craig, if you sent me I think they're on VHS. I can't remember now. Friend,
No, I put it on a DVD. I remember.
Yeah, you did, and
Yeah. 'Cause it was about after it was about 5 years
what am I doing
after I
there?
told you I'd send it to you. I finally got a DVD burner and burn it and send it to you.
Yeah, and I had
Because
a
it was on those little Super 8 TED cassettes they had back in them
yeah,
days. Yeah.
absolutely. That was a lot of fun, man. I'll tell you what, that was one of my highlights. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got out there and I graduated. I hope it was fun, man. It was a blast.
But we know you got to catch a bus there, Greg.
I'm okay right now. We got another 15, man. I got
Do
another
you?
minutes. Yeah.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Did you ever? You know, Ed was. He had this guy. He did a little skit with the unknown Henson.
Oh yes.
You know that guy?
I don't know him, man.
Well, he's a heck of a player, man.
He's no slouch, man. He's a great player.
And he calls rock and roll that mess. He goes, I don't like to play that mess, but I'll play it. I've heard he's had a few strokes.
I saw the skit that Ed did where he gets shot,
Yeah, he was upstaging Ed.
No, and and speaking of God, they're all, when I was out there with Craig, oh man, Billy, Leon, Gary, Ed, they were still with us. They were still out there, and it's sad. I mean, but it's been a few years, hasn't it, Craig? It's been a few years now. I mean,
yeah, it's been what, 32 years? Yeah,
33-ish, I think.
33 years. Yeah,
yeah, 33 years.
Yeah. So you know Hank Williams Jr. You got any Hank Williams Jr. story for us there? Anything? He's a crazy guy, man.
Hank one-on-one is one of the nicest and calmest human beings that you'd ever want to meet. He's like, when you put him on stage, he's kind of like Ted Nugent. Ted one-on-one is very, you can have a conversation with him. You put him in front of people, then he becomes real animated, and
yeah.
He kind of goes into his skit stuff.
He's got a lot of those one-liners,
Yeah. But Hank, let's see. Well, I don't know. The thing I could tell about Hank is, when we started touring with Hank, it was like spring of 1990. We hit it off with Hank. It was the Lone Wolf tour, and it got to the point where he liked us, and he would bring us out to jam, and it got to the point where like we were doing half the show with him, and I think one night we were up there having a big old time, and Richard had Hank's guitar. It was some type of Gibson. It looked like a heavy metal guitar. They were doing these little heavy metal guitars for a while, and Richard was doing a spinning thing, and he broke the neck on it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, man,
did you spend any time with Kid Rock?
I've only met Kid Rock one time, and that was at a Popcorn Sutton moonshine party deal that Hank was having a launch. I've only been around him one time. He seemed like a really nice fella. Do y'all know?
Well, Craig does. Yeah. He was at Gary's funeral, I think. Wasn't he? Yeah, he was at Gary's funeral.
Yeah, he was there. I spoke with him momentarily.
Didn't Kid Rock buy Ed King's one Stratocaster?
I didn't know, probably, but I didn't know about that.
The one he played on, supposedly played on Sweet Home Alabama. I thought Kid Rock bought that.
Oh, that was another country artist. I can't remember who that was.
Oh, was it somebody else then?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but it was a country artist.
Was it Jason Aldean, maybe? I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Didn't you say you had something to do with Ringo Starr? It seemed like in our last conversation.
Well, I met Ringo. We played Farm Aid in 90.
That's right.
93, I think. 93. We were in Iowa. We played Farm Aid. And this is when Ricky and Doug had left the band. We had Anthony and Mark out. We had a friend of ours on the bus with us that week, Dean Smith. And Dean and I was walking backstage, and we walked by this trailer, and there's this gentleman on the steps, looks at us, says, "You want to meet Ringo Starr?" and it was his manager, and somehow he must know who we were. And we're like, yeah. So we went in his trailer and we met Ringo Starr, and Johnny Cash was in the room.
Wow.
Lyle Lovett, Roseanne Cash. I don't know who else, but we met Ringo. That, I never, there's some of these guys like never met Clapton. Craig, you probably met Clapton.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, up at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I was a theatrical stagehand roadie up there at the Rock Hall of Fame. I met him and Jimmy Page. Yeah.
Were they cool?
Oh yeah, they were real cool. Yeah.
Now I heard that Alan scared the fire out of Eric one night in Memphis. You were probably there, I guess. And I don't know if this is true or not, and it's probably just urban legend. Said, of course, Skynyrd always played Crossroads, and he said, somebody said Alan went in the Clapton's dressing room and said, "You try to follow that." Is that just a big?
Really?
No, I don't think One time I told Alan he played Crossroads better than Clapton, and he goes, "Yeah, but he did it first."
Well, there was that little period of time where Clapton, I guess he was kind of strung out because
he was strong.
I saw him, and it was like, I'd kind of wanted my money back on that. He was playing with J.J. Cale, and he wasn't even playing. I think he was strung out really bad. It was at the Lakeland Civic Center.
I think Clapton's in a good place now. I had a friend saw him the other night. I think he's in a really good place. He's got a family. He's straight. Yeah. He's playing.
Been through a lot.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, man. He's like one of my big influences, just like same guys that Skynyrd came up loving, I mean, Hendrix, Paul Kossoff. You know how much Gary. I went over to Gary's house one night when I was rehearsing with him, and me and Gary sat there and watched Free videos and Stevie Ray. And actually, Gary got crying watching Paul Kossoff. It touched him that deep. He loved Paul Kossoff. I do too. Great. Man, we're so lucky. We're so blessed that we came up through a period. And I'd like to say, you could say whether it be the Beatles, but I guess you could go back to Chuck Berry if you want to. But I'm going to say 1965 to the mid 70s, there was a very fertile period of music that it was just on fire, man. You had everything from Bob Dylan, you had Cream, you had Jimi Hendrix, you had all these great bands, and everybody pushing the envelope. It was just amazing. And then Skynyrd. We saw the beginning of what we know as Southern rock. It's just
what do you got going on now, Greg? Anything you want to talk about that you got going in the works?
Headhunters. We've got about another 15 shows this year. I'm leaving tonight. Don't have very far. I'm not sure why we're leaving at 8:30 to go to Hardin, Kentucky to play tomorrow night. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but we're going to Hardin, Kentucky. Then we play Oklahoma City on Saturday with Blackstone Cherry, which is Richard's son on drums. Then let's see, I've not got a calendar in front of me. Next week we're in New Berlin, Illinois, Paul, Michigan. Then on the 27th of September, we're in Garnett, Kansas. I've got about another 15 dates with the Headhunters. There's a new Headhunter album. It's a reissue of an album that came out originally in 2005, I think. It's called Big Boss Man. It comes out Halloween, and it's a covers album. I'm working on a blues project that I hope to come out next spring. Me and Jimmy Hall's playing harmonica. I've got Jimmy Hall on it. I've got Omar from Omar and the Howlers. He's on it. And just fun stuff. Hey, man, I'm 72. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, you're still doing good.
Trying to enjoy life and just thank God for the time I've got left, and hopefully, just trying to stay focused, play music, and love my family.
Well, you guys got like about what 12 albums out now, something like that.
At least 12 albums.
And is it 4 Grammys you guys got?
Well, we were nominated 4 times. We got 1 Grammy. Where is my Grammy? Oh, it's in the back. Can you see it in the back?
Is that, yeah, it's kind of like a gold on the
Yeah,
top.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
got you a
I was
Grammy
back.
out there. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's it back there.
That's
We
cool.
did win that, but we were nominated 4 times. Yeah, we were lucky, man. That first album, you were blessed. You know, that came at a time in our lives when we really needed something to give us a boost. You know, to do something. You know, have a career. I was playing with Ronnie McDowell, a country singer. I played with him from 1981 to 89. He was a great boss. That's where I met Doug. You know, the way I look at all these things, Griff, Craig, everything that happened, whether it be playing with you guys, Skinner, it was all kind of a God thing, the way I look at it. Uh, Learned a lot from every situation, you know. Uh, you know, I look back, I go, you know, like a little, I'm just a little hick from Metcalfe County, man. And lucky that I thought if I ever got to play Glasgow, Kentucky, over here where I live now, I thought, man, I'll be making it, you know. But I never had no idea that we would do what happened, you know. I have to think.
What do you think about the music nowadays, up and coming? Is there anybody stepping in your footsteps that you think?
Oh, there's a lot of great musicians out there they're great, you know. There's
Yeah,
great. There's locally. I mean, of course, I can't say enough good things about Blackstone Cherry. Those kids, we saw them come up, their family. Then there's a little group called Otis, which I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Otis, but they're really good at doing that blues rock thing that we love. They're from around this area. Uh, my stepson has a band called Tail Dragger. They're really good. Far as man, Marcus King is great. Blackberry Smoke is great. Oh gosh, man, you know
yeah.
Joe Massa, he tears it up. There's so many great ones out there. I don't keep up with the new music as much as I should because I'm always going back and like looking for the next Lightning Hopkins that I missed, as if that makes sense. You
Okay.
know, like okay, you know, like is there somebody I missed that influenced Eric Clapton or somebody like that?
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, I loved Eric Clapton growing up, and I loved Peter Green. I loved Mick Taylor, Billy Gibbons, of course, and all the Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers guys. But I'm always going back now, trying to go to the roots, man. Whether it be country music, whether it be the Delmore Brothers, Merle Travis, or Lightning Hopkins, Guitar Slim. I want to know the roots of it all. You know, that's what I'm into, and try to be in.
Well,
But
Greg, I tell you what, I know you got to catch that bus.
I got to get on that darn romper room bus,
Yeah.
man.
It's
You know what
great.
a romper room bus is,
We
Craig?
we appreciate you coming on, and showing us all your guitars and telling us stories
Well, let's do it
and
again.
yeah, it's
Let's do it again. You know,
you
I've
need
got,
to have Craig on your radio show.
I do. Craig, you need to be on. No, Craig needs to be.
Yeah,
Craig's a part of my life, man. Craig,
yeah,
you took
he's
good care of me out there.
Yeah, we had fun back then. I still
Craig, you were
remember
good to
that.
me. You were good. You were a good man, and I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, I was the one that picked you up and brought you and hauled you around. And I
You
was
did,
that guy. I was the
you were
one
my babysitter.
that did all the airport runs. Yeah.
You were a good man. You took good care of me. Uh, it was a really special time in my life. Uh, as I said, I loved every one of those guys. Um, when Gary called me that one morning about joining, it was a time where our band was really going through a rough patch, and I knew it wasn't the right thing. But thank God, the right guy was in the bullpen. And that was Mike Estes. You know, Estes. I call him Estes because
that's the right way. That's yeah.
you know. But Mike, I'm glad Mike got that gig. I love Mike a lot. I love all them guys, man. Randall Hall. I can't say God. All them guys were just so nice. And Custer. God bless Custer.
Right.
Hey, do you remember, Craig, when we were rehearsing down there one night? Some of you guys were outside running around the building with a squirt gun, chasing each
Oh
other.
yeah, and the police showed up. Oh
They
yeah.
showed up, man.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. I went
guns.
outside and I goes, there's somebody told me there's man the whole front's full of cops and I went outside and I goes and they had guns on me. I goes, whoa, what's going on? I goes, and they said something. I goes, oh, that was a joke. And they goes, this isn't funny.
It
and
was
Custer was out there. Custer was out there with some kind of a gun, and he was hiding behind a tree shooting at something, and somebody was running or something, and they saw him. I don't remember the exact scenario, but yeah, there was 4 cops out there.
But I remember that, and that was one of the rehearsals. Like I say, I went down for one rehearsal for 3 days, and then they flew me home because I had to fly out to L.A. to be on some kind of award show with the Headhunters. Then I flew right from L.A. down to Louisiana, and who's on this? And my stepson's band, Black Cat Bone, they were on the tour, part of the tour, because they didn't know I was going to be out there, and I didn't know they were going to be out there. So it was crazy. It's just so many weird little things happen. And I remember one night we had played Greenville. Of course, Greenville was pretty special to you guys because that was the last time the original band played together, you know. And I remember at the hotel, I ran into a bunch of Ronnie McDowell fans out in the lobby, and they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, well, "I'm not playing with Skynyrd," you know. So, man, you know, the good Lord has put me in some really interesting, good places. And I say that if I put myself in some bad places, thank God I was able to get out of the ditch when I did, you know.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, during that COVID time, the musicians took a hard hit. You know, you couldn't hardly.
It was rough. You know, though, Griff, it was rough. It was a tough time. I started on the road. I was actually on the, you know, playing music from '77. But I've been on a tour bus since 1981. And when COVID hit, the only good thing, and there's not much to say good about it, that I was with my family. I was able to spend some time with my family and clean my basement up and just take care. I got a guy actually trying to.
All right, Greg. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. And you have a great trip.
All right, God bless you guys. Craig, I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy. Keep in touch. We'll do this. We'll do this again sometime.
Can we do this again, boys?
Oh yeah. No doubt.
I won't be in a rush next time. Y'all, what you could do next time, just write down some questions and keep me on track because I'm like a flying squirrel. Oh, there's something over there, you know. So,
we know what it's like to get off track. Yeah, we do.
That's okay, man. I'll bring some more guitars out next time. I'll show y'all some other things I got, okay?
All right. Thank you, Greg. You take care.
Peace, love. Pray for the world. All right?
All
Pray
right.
for each other. And main thing, y'all love each other and get your Bible out.
Yeah.
Smack people over the head with it.
Yeah, we just got a Bible from one of our listeners. We call him Jesus for Survivors.
Jesus for Survivors.
You gotta have Jesus to survive, man. You gotta have Jesus. That's right. You know.
All righty, Greg. You take care.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, Jack West, Denise Soares, Homer Hancock, Janet Green. You got prizes coming in the mail. I put them in the mail today. And Paul Keaton, hey, send me your email address so I can get your prize out to you. And see you later, alligator, at the Wild Crocodile. And thanks for coming, Greg. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you guys. I'm gone.
Bye-bye.
grandma. You know, we love him, and God bless him. Now, I call him the president. He's one of the last of the wild ones, I guess. Maybe that's what we should introduce him. Mr. Gary Rossington. I said, sweet.
Guitar stuff up here. A couple months ago, I broke my finger in Paris. Good finger to break, huh? And the other night, Randall jumping on stage. Show me your foot, man. Spot, please. Good one. So, please give a good warm welcome to Greg Martin of the Kentucky Headhunters. Thank you. Let me say this past 9 days have been some of the greatest times I've ever had. It's like an honor, and I learned I don't quite know good songs as good as I should, but I have a hell of a good time!
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then.